Hey guys, welcome back. Um, this is going to be an interesting podcast today because I'm not really one to fly by the seat of my pants, but I have so much angst right now that I can't imagine other people aren't feeling this right now too. And so, we have social media, we have Facebook, all the things, and a lot of the things that we put out there are just like the highlights, the good stuff, right? And sometimes it gets portrayed that our lives are perfect and that we have our shit together and we have everything going for us and uh gosh, it doesn't seem like the case lately. I i personally have felt like the biggest failure um just lately. I feel like I'm failing on every level. I feel like I'm disappointing people left and right. And that's not me. I'm just like I'm so I don't know. I don't even know the words. Maybe y'all can help me figure out what the hell is going on with me because I can't figure it out. I feel like a failure as a parent. I feel like a failure as a friend. I feel like a failure as a leader in my business. I feel like a huge failure in my business. I feel like a failure as a wife. I feel like a failure as just as a daughter. Um, as a daughter of the king, I have I've been reading this prayer book that my friend Holly got me. And it's so interesting how it hits the nail on the head like every freaking time of what I'm feeling. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about what I've been doing in the last month or so, just trying to, I don't know, find myself, right? I don't know if it's just the holidays, or it's not just the holidays. It's a lot. But this prayer hit hard today, and it's a book called 1 Minute Prayers to Unwind a Worried Mind. If you're watching, this is the little book, okay? And the prayer is called faithfulness. It's getting there. It says, "The Lord will vindicate me. Your love, Lord, endures forever. Do not abandon the works of your hands." Psalm 138:8. And it says, "Please, Lord, never quit shaping me into the person you dreamed into being. Formed in the womb and guided up to this very second, forgive me for becoming discouraged or disappointed over my daily life and the mundane moments. Deep in my spirit, the well of your mercy nourishes me and revives my hope. I will get there. In your vindication and strength, I will get to my purpose, and I will live from a deeper understanding of each relationship, conversation, and decision. The offerings of your grace will continue your work in me, the work of your very hands. My missteps won't direct my calling, because you redeem all my fragile humanness in your divine love. I am moved by your steadfast attention and presence. You've never given up on me." And that hit home so hard this morning when everything's just kind of been coming down. It's just been one thing after another, right? I'm not good enough of a daughter for my mom. Um, I'm not good enough of a mother for my oldest son. He didn't even show up for Thanksgiving. I couldn't even get through the prayer at Thanksgiving dinner. Look, I'm not a perfect parent. I never claimed to be. But what I have done is try. And I guess when you have a child that is their outlook on life is so skewed that I can't say anything right. I can't do anything right. He holds on to every bit of the past. And it's consistently thrown in my face. And it's my fault. That's the thing. It's my fault. I enabled him. I enabled him to be a victim of his circumstance. And I've talked about this before, and I did things so differently with our second son. I didn't allow him to be a victim. It wasn't even part of his vocabulary. I told him he was a survivor, that he was survivor of everything that he's been through, that he will never be a victim of it and he will overcome it. And with my oldest son, I was 21 years old when I had him. I was just a kid myself. I didn't even know life, right? And I don't regret having him. He's the best thing that ever happened to me. He saved my life. But man, like, fuck. I will never be enough for him. I will never be good enough. Everything, I mean, like me and this kid, we grew up together. And to hug your child and have them hug you back and pet you like you're a dog, that sucks. And I'm not saying he's not validated in some of the stuff that happened. He is validated in it. Danny and I weren't perfect parents. We're learning along the way, and these damn kids don't come with instruction books, and they're all different. And when you have a blended family, it makes it even harder. But at least we tried. We tried and we provided for our kids. And that's all I can do. We were sitting at Thanksgiving and I busted my ass. So did my husband on Thanksgiving dinner. And I told my mom we didn't need anything. I didn't need her to bring anything. She decided to make cornbread and she brought it. She was the first person that I made a plate for. And I'm talking like we made a spread. We spent a lot of money for this dinner. We hosted it at our house. And I served my mom. She was the first one that got served. And I forgot to put the cornbread on her plate. And when I asked, "How was everything?" she made a comment, "Oh, it's great. I just didn't get any cornbread." And then there were passive aggressive comments after that. And that wasn't the only incident, but even one of my other kids looked at me from across the table and was like, "Holy cow, you're going to take that." And I did. I just took it because my mom is mentally ill. That's just the only way to explain it. But it is gut-wrenching that you're never good enough. And maybe that's how my son feels. Maybe that's how he feels because he feels like a failure. I never want him to feel that way, but I enabled him. I made excuses for him all his life. I never made him handle his own shit. I always handled it for him. And if you are a parent that does that, stop it. Stop it, stop it, stop it, because I have a 26-year-old that doesn't know how to fully function in life because I handled it for him. So stop doing that if you're one of those parents. What else do I feel like a failure in? I feel like a failure in my business and my leadership, all this drama that went around that girl. I just feel like it's had leftover drama, and then there's been more drama since that. And I just like, there's that saying, when someone shows you who they are, believe them. And it's like I'm a freaking idiot because I keep going back for more. Like I already know who these people are. They have already shown me who they are. And yet I'm the one that's insane. Because insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over again and expecting a different result. And I'm the one that keeps going back for more, expecting a different result. These people are the same. I haven't changed. And I am valuable. And I am worth winning prizes and earning things from my upline, even though they think I'm not. So I'm done with that. But it makes me feel like a failure. It makes me feel like I've done something wrong, and I have to just keep reminding myself that, like, sometimes it's not me, you know? Sometimes it's the other person. And I was talking to Janelle, who is my life coach. Oh my God, she's like the greatest godsend on the planet. If you don't have a life coach, you need to message me and ask about Janelle, because she is my fairy godmother. She is the calm to my storm. Um, it was funny. I talked to her last week, and she giggled a little bit because, like, in the beginning I was like, look, I'm not one of these people, like, put your feet on the floor, touch the, feel the earth, and all those things, and close your eyes and bring yourself into yourself and all these things. And I wasn't that. And we're all, I don't know, we're probably 8 months into this, 6 8 months into this. And she was like, okay, let's, and I immediately just closed my eyes. And I hear her giggling, and I open my eyes, and I'm like, what? She's like, it used to take me like forever to get you to settle and close your eyes. And she's like, and now you're just ready. And I was like, dude, because I've only been meeting with her every other week. Uh, ugh, there's just a lot. Bless her heart. One of the things that she said to me is she has a great filter, and God is her filter. Because, man, let me tell you something, that woman takes a lot of listening. It takes a lot of listening to me. But what I love about it is she doesn't tell me what to do. She asks me questions that leads me through working through what I'm struggling with, right? And that's huge. Um, where else did I say I feel like a failure? I feel like a failure as a friend. My friend Holly has all these kids that they're donating to, not necessarily donating to, but they're buying Christmas gifts for. They're like 87 kids that need. And this isn't even like the Angel Tree or Salvation Army or anything. This is a completely different ministry. There's like 87 kids out there, and they need to be sponsored. And I feel guilty because we just can't. Like, there's just not a lot of extra money right now. We're doing good to get Christmas gifts for our 4 kids and their significant others, and parents and things like that. I hate Christmas. I really do. It's a Hallmark holiday. I love the story behind Christmas. I love the meaning of Christmas, but I hate what Christmas has turned into is the expectation of gifts. I'm not a great gift giver. I'm a very practical person. So tell me what you need and I'll get it for you, right? So most of our kids know what's under the tree, and that sucks. It was more fun when they were kids. But I just, it just puts us in a position to spend a lot of unnecessary money, and vice versa for other people and other families. It just causes a lot of stress and a lot of financial stress. And when Danny and I first got together, we went into debt, like we spent like $1,200 back in, when did we get together? 2017? No, gosh, oops. 2000. He's going to kill me. What is this? Danny, don't laugh. I'm going to use my calculator. This is 2023, and we've been together 16 years. Um, so 2007. Okay, I can't math in my head. I don't know why this thing keeps going sideways, but it is. So 2007 is when we got together. that Christmas, actually the next Christmas we were together because we were like permanent together the next Christmas. That next Christmas we spent like $1,200. We went into debt, we put it on a credit card, and we spent the rest of the year paying it out. That's stupid. That's the stupidest shit on the planet, right? Nobody needs that much stuff. They just don't. And so we got out of that habit, but I feel like such a failure for not being able to help out with these other kids. I mean, we're in the ministry. We got to serve them all Thanksgiving dinner last Wednesday night, and that was good. I feel like such a loser. And that's the thing that goes through my head. Like, we're not making the money that we used to make. And so 2 years ago, I'd have been like, yeah, here's $1,000, do whatever you need to with it. And we're just not in that position now. Now I'm like, am I going to have to go find a job? Right. That's another reason I feel like a failure in my business, because the economy's changed. Things are different. I mean, I'm still making more money than I would working a full-time job here where I live in Tyler, Texas, right? So I can't complain about it. I'm not complaining, but it's just not the we were making quadruple this, right? So it's just different. I feel like I'm not holding up, and that goes back into, I mean, like this web that is spinning, it goes right back into not contributing everything that I was contributing to the household, right? Because I can't I and I was the breadwinner for so long. So I feel like a failure as a business person. I feel like a failure as a mom. I feel like a failure as a daughter. I feel like a failure as a wife on so many levels. it, I have so much worry in my mind that I don't feel like I'm being a good enough wife to my husband. I don't feel like I'm giving him the attention he deserves. And I can't just flip a switch and change that. I can't just flip a switch and turn my worries off. It just doesn't work like that. So I end up disappointing him a lot. And that's really hard to do because my husband is one of the greatest people in the whole world and he deserves everything. But I can't be everything right now. It's a lot of pressure. A lot of pressure. I just I don't know where this part of the journey is supposed to take me. I know that God doesn't give us things that we can't handle, right? But I also, I mean, if you've been watching these, there's been some emotional stuff happening. And that's another place where I feel like a failure because I know I've gained 10 pounds at least. I haven't been on the scale, but boy, let me tell you, I started emotionally eating and it hasn't stopped. Uh, I'm going to do a jump start tomorrow and that'll get me back on track. I have to be in a bathing suit in Jamaica in January. And what I should be saying is I get to be in a bathing suit in Jamaica in January, right? But I'm kind of dreading it. And that's one of the things that I really feel like I'm failing at is taking care of myself and take care of my body and that's probably a lot to do with my mental health right now because I feel like shit because I've been eating like shit. So it affects me mentally. And for those of you out there who feel like shit on a daily basis because you eat like shit, trust me, it is all related. Physically feeling like shit, mentally feeling like shit, mentally feeling terrible about yourself. All of that is related to the food that you're putting in your body. The sugars and the carbs and I mean, like, our mental health in this country declined rapidly when the processed foods and sugars were introduced 30 years ago. I mean, think about it. Just put two and two together because you're a smart person. What you're putting in your body is physically making you sick and mentally making you sick. And so I look forward to doing another podcast next week and being in a totally different mental space because I've detoxed all that shit out of my body. But that's one of the things that Janelle and I were talking about is she's like, you need to go back to, step one for AA because like food and my work are addictions for me. They are escapes. They are mm, it's how I punish myself. It's how I reward myself. It's how I beat myself up. It's like this evil cycle. Like I go eat, I don't know, a bowl of cereal. And then I kick myself in the ass and I'm like beating myself up almost all night. And first thing in the morning when I wake up, that's like, oh, I can't believe I did that yesterday. It's a bowl of cereal. But that's where that addiction goes, right? And it turns into binging. And it turns into binging like all the sugars and all the foods and all the things and carbs crave carbs. So as soon as you start eating those sugars and shit, it all just starts craving itself all over again. And it's a horrible cycle. And what Janelle was saying is go back to step one and instead of going and eating something, turn that emotion into an act of love or an act of service and admit that there's a problem and ask God for help. And it hit me like a ton of bricks. Asking God for help. It never even occurred to me. It never even occurred to me to ask God for help for my eating disorder. It's not even an eating disorder, it's just an addiction. Because that's what I do now to make myself feel better instead of drugs. And I talked about this last week too, that relapse. And something that I've been doing over the last few weeks, just little bits and pieces that I hear, like Janelle and I were talking, and one of the things we talked about was I feel like, in the mornings I'd wake up and I'd say my prayers and things, and it just didn't seem like enough, right? I felt like I was failing as a daughter of the king, right? And I still felt like I was trying to control it all. So what I did was in the mornings, I started hitting my knees. And there's a connotation to, like, there's meaning to that. For me, it's surrendering that control. Me getting down on my knees and surrendering and saying my prayers on my knees is me surrendering to God, 100%. And in that surrender, I ask him to take all this anxiety and all this stress and all this angst and all this worry off of me. And I'm asking him that every single day, every day, because it is so much right now. And on top of that, I have my I am boards and I am reading them every single day out loud to myself. There's probably 30 or 40 words between the two of them, but I'm reading those out loud to myself. Um, there's another Bible verse, she's clothed in strength and dignity, and she laughs without fear of the future. I believe that's Psalm 91:3, but I'm not for sure. There's another Bible verse or another verse that just says she remembered who she was and the game changed, right? And there's another little piece that says, take a good look in the mirror. The person standing in the mirror is the most important person in your universe. and you need to take care of that person. For sure. And then the next thing I do is I stand in the mirror and I tell myself over and over and over out loud that I love you. Looking at myself in the mirror, telling myself I love you. Because I feel like such a failure right now that I'm having a hard time loving myself. I went a couple of weekends ago or weeks ago and I had a massage. It was just a really hard day. It was a terrible day. There was just a whole lot of stuff. Like, I had coached this guy and I put so much time into coaching it, and he lost 12 pounds on the plan in 8 days. And then he sent his shit back, which is fine. It's his right, right? But he did so well. And then he came back and like he even sent me pictures, and he was like smiling in the pictures and stuff. And his pictures were like significantly different. And he's like, "Oh, it's just water weight." I'm like, I put all this time and effort. Like, I went above and beyond for this person. And I just sent it back. I guess he just wanted the meal plan from it. Who knows? But it was just like hit after hit after hit last week. And so I went that night, and a friend of mine ended up calling me, actually, and we had a great conversation. I'm so grateful for her phone call. She's been on this podcast before. Melissa Adams, thank you. Thank you for that phone call, because God knew what he was doing in that moment. And I'm not one to dump all over everybody, but man, there was just a lot. And she let me. And I'm so grateful for that. Thank you, Melissa, for that. Seriously. Um, but that Monday, I went to a little place called Footy Ritty, and I went and got a massage. And it was a really good massage. And I was still just so in my feelings that I I drove through McDonald's and I got 2 cheeseburgers, which, if you know me, McDonald's cheeseburgers are my favorite thing in the whole world. I mean, it's high up there with banana pudding. It's a reminder of my childhood. It's the one thing that's always been consistent, and the taste never changed. They're terrible for you, but I sat in the parking lot at 9:30 at night and ate 2 McDonald's cheeseburgers. And then I beat myself up for the next 24 hours for it. Addiction is always going to be a struggle for me, whether it's work, whether it's worry, stress, food. Um, I'm grateful that I have the life that I have, so I do choose to be clean and sober every day. I know all of our addictions are different, but and this has been a really hard few weeks. And I don't know if anybody else is feeling like this. Maybe, like I said, maybe it's just the holidays. Um, but I don't even want to do it anymore. Like, I don't want to have Thanksgiving next year. I don't even want to have Christmas. I absolutely freaking dread it. I dread the drama with my mom. I dread the drama with one of my sons. I just absolutely dread it. And that sucks for the rest of our kids. Because the thing is, they're still here, right? And they want the Christmas and they want the Thanksgiving and they want to be part of it. How do I give that when you feel like a failure in those aspects? So I know this was heavy, but I mean, listen, if anybody else is feeling like this, put it out there, put it down, like, talk about it, because I think sometimes working it out in your mind and talking it out is one of the most beneficial things you can do for yourself. I really think so. And if you can't you don't have someone to talk it out with, like, hit me up. I'll get you Janelle's information. She's it's Awakenings Life Coaching, Janelle Clayton on Facebook. You can find her. She's amazing. Truly amazing. And I'm going to keep working on me. I'm going to keep working on loving myself, because I can't fill other people's cups if I'm not filling my own. And if I'm struggling to love myself, then it makes it hard to give that love that I don't have right now to give. And to the people in my life, I'm sorry that I'm not enough right now. I want to be everything for everybody, but it's just not possible. I never thought that this would be where I'm feeling at 48 years old. And I want to leave you with this one thing. That's something that I saw, and it goes back to, business and leadership on our team. And it said, never respond to shade that comes from trees that don't bear fruit. I'm going to say that again. Never respond to shade that comes from trees that don't bear fruit. And that's what I was doing. I was responding to the shade from trees that don't bear any fruit. That's insane. So anyway, get the 1 Minute Prayers to Unwind a Worried Mind book. It's really good. Thank you, Holly, for getting me that book. It's good stuff. And, if you're struggling like I am, find the positive things to say to yourself every day, your positive affirmations. Stand in the mirror, tell yourself you love yourself. Get down on your knees and pray, and surrender yourself to God, and surrender that control. I don't know what it is he's putting me through or where he wants me to grow from this, but it's tough cookies. It's tough stuff, seriously. I mean, even talking about this just makes me want to go eat marshmallows. I ate a whole bag of marshmallows last week before last. A whole bag of marshmallows. I probably finished off more than half a pan of Rice Krispie treats since Thanksgiving. All the sugars, all this, like the palate of a 6-year-old. That's what I live for. But, hold me accountable. Drop in, check up, see how things are going. Feel free to do so. I will absolutely fill you in on how I'm doing and what's happening. And take care of you. Take care of yourself. Remember, when you look in the mirror, you are the most important person in your universe, and you need to take care of that person first and foremost. Because if you don't, you can't take care of anybody else. And it's okay to feel like a failure sometimes. I think we've all been there. The whole purpose of it, though, is that we have to figure out how to bring ourselves out, and we have to give it to God, and we have to trust in God to help bring us out of it. 110,000%. So, anyway, that's it today. Peace out, homies. See y'all later. Thanks for listening.